Because of course, who knows what the dungeon has in store. So without further ado, let's just get ready to hop back into it, shall we? Hey Azurus, yeah, sorry I was a little late starting today. I love that. Just playing in the background. It's not that I'm slowly but surely starting to permeate everybody's subconscious, and pretty soon that Polybridge soundtrack is going to be playing in the background no matter where you are, any time of the day. That's the overall goal here. We're some kind of psyop weaponry where we're going to use mimetic technology to just infect you all. If we're able to. We'll see how it goes. But let's jump back in here, shall we? And there's the snake entrance that we had just explored slightly. We're of course looking a little bit, excuse me, worse for wear in regards to our defenses right now, as is pretty standard for ranger characters. Potentially we need to start training a bit of evasion. In fact, maybe we'll do that right away here. So far we just have fighting and invo going to decently high scores, so let us maybe focus a bit of dodging. I don't even know how high to bring this bad boy, maybe around a 12 for now. We'll see, might have to adapt that as we go, be a bit more dynamic, but we shall see. No, don't worry, that already happens when you're on a binge series of one of my runs. Perfect. Well, I'm glad the process has begun here. But okie dokie. We could head back into Snake. Of course, our main issue there was not having electricity resistance, so the shock serpents are definitely going to be a little bit of a problem for us to deal with. Of course, we did have an answer to that awaiting us in a shop with Vepreva here, the lovely crown. So, just need to survive long enough to get, albeit a large sum of money, into our hands here. So potentially, we try out shoals. I'm not sure how we'll fare down that direction. Again, ranger duels aren't exactly our specialty. We take a little bit too much damage rather, for it to be truly feasible. But we can try it out here. Okay, I don't like this dispersal trap. For sure, that could end up being a little bit of a problem for us here. Oh gosh, as we start to attract a whole lot of attention, at the very least, I think we can try to split some of these up. And yeah, okay, already a good indication of how rough shoals might be for us as we take an absurd amount of damage, just find 2 harpies. And if you recall from literally moments ago, more harpies and tons of other friends just waiting for us down here. We could of course be blown away from the stairwell by our Windrake friend. So I'm just debating to myself if it's worth it to continue here. Potentially it is, especially if we bring out a diva. Or Deva? Something like that. That will at least give us a bit more firepower, and then hopefully we can chunk our way through the majority of the new friends that we're making here. A couple of sky sharks could also be a problem. I'm going to throw in a cleansing flame. Again, just trying to get a bit more certainty. Overall, might have been slightly unnecessary to do so, but I'd rather be safe than sorry at this point. And, Sharky Pal will move towards us, especially if we try to step away. They unfortunately move a little bit too quickly. I was going to say quick on their feet, but I don't think that really applies here. Quick on their wings? Do sky sharks have wings? Do they just use some kind of matter manipulation technique like Superman? Who knows? How many enemies here actually use fire and cold? You feel it's all physical, so that amulet of elemental weakness is looking kind of nice. Yeah, the one downside is cold. There are the Aquamancers that have an ice attack, as well as if we run into Ilsui, I think. Blank there for a moment, but those are the only 2 potential struggle points in that regard, but it's an interesting thought. Do you know what, if I could just command my friend to take the brunt of the fight here, that's perfect. And then we may have You know, I spoke too early. I was gonna say we may have broken ground here, but it looks like still have a little bit to work with. Donald could be a problem for sure with that shield of reflection. That's not looking so hot for us right now, but we can double up on you, I guess, my friend. And then maybe we just do ice blasts until the cows come home? Whoa, chill out, buddy. Why are you heading straight for me? You got a couple of way more dangerous enemies right beside you that you should probably be dealing with. Oh, jeez, Louise, you scared me a little bit there as well. Fortunately, we do have the willpower. Again, all props to our lovely longbow here for getting us to a safe spot. So, I guess we'll just tell our friends to get going. Ooh, Louise, you have a bit more firepower than I was expecting as well. I guess, lightning bolt and stone arrow. That would probably do it. In fact, a lightning bolt could have already killed me by now if we got a little less fortunate. I think we're just gonna head out and reset this encounter. Oh, geez. Trying to think if there's anywhere else we could go, even just to recharge the Phantom Mirror would be nice. But you mean I get ice armor and the nice ring to make up for it? True. Just stack ourselves with cold resistance, trying to fight off the 2 points of vulnerability here. I mean, we put it on, and then we'd swap over to our cold resistance armor. Ring of Ice seems a little absurd here, but it does bring us to neutral, I guess. As long as, yeah. Are there any uniques that I'm forgetting about that are able to show up here in Shoals? Most of them are either heavy physical damage, some cold, some generic magic. Of course, always could get some of the more fluid ones that are able to show up in various environments. But maybe they'll be okay. And they'll get wands of fire. Oh geez, I hope not. And yeah, fire elemental weapons is definitely a thing. With 3 pips of vulnerability, I don't even know what the math looks like at that point. I've never thought to look up what 3 points of vulnerability would do to me, because it's never really been a factor. Not even close to being a factor, in fact. So that is interesting to say the least. But I think we will come down and fight you at least. Venom Trident shouldn't be a big deal. Let's summon a friend once more here. And can I cannot quite get the angle to hit you. So maybe if we take a step up, there we go. And dang it, Louise, why are you walking towards me? Again, they do have the electricity, so potentially we'll actually use a resistance potion just in case here. We're going to play this as safely as possible. I feel like, especially considering the fact that we just continued this run and it always takes a little bit of elbow grease to get back into the swing of things and kind of remember exactly how I should be piloting. But hey, decent start here as we breach the door into Shoals. No, I guess I'll just let my friend do all the heavy lifting here for the moment. And there we go. Now I can start pulling my own weight, actually helping out a little bit as well. Fantastic. I mean, if the Deva sticks around for long enough, we might be alright. And you all didn't hear it, but I just got confirmation on something I was very concerned about going into this stream, which is that I wasn't sure if I charged this set of headphones, and I did just get the low battery warning, so we'll see how long we can stretch it before they completely crap out, and I might have to swap over to the newer version, which I generally don't use for my own leisure activities. I'm definitely the type of person that will refuse to change from using a piece of equipment until it 100% is fully broken. If there's even some small amount of functionality, I try my best to use it until its final breath here. But Kirky went down without too much trouble, and we're in a slightly better configuration overall here. In fact, if I could kind of just hang out in a nice tight corridor, would probably be a decent idea. But hey, we'll see how it goes. Some fancy willpower plate armor is not going to cut it. And I'm a little bit gun-shy about the large rocks after my fairly recent caster run and how that ended. So something to be mindful of. Though, again, having a little bit more defense thanks to the elemental weakness amulet potentially is going to work out for us here. Looking into it, you can't find it, but any vulnerability is just 50% more damage. More pips, just harder to remove. Oh, perfect. So we don't have to worry about a flame wand dealing like 300% damage and just shooting us out of the sky. That's nice. Happy to hear it. We could throw away our little arbalist here. I'm guessing we do have more just garbage in our inventory. Even the javelins probably fit the bill in that department, seeing as how we're unlikely to really use them. Staff Cold and Staff of Fire, pretty much in the same boat. And, ooh, an Amulet of Regeneration. It's definitely pretty lovely. Do have to remember. Never mind. I was worried that we'd lost our poison resistance, but we do have that coming from another piece of equipment here. Elemental Vulnerability Amulet. You strike again. Okie dokie. With that, just get back on the road here, and hopefully we have a decent start to our time. I mean, Trident of Flaming. So, brain, let's take that as a lesson here. Check out enchanted weapons of enemies, because I had no notion that we were being approached by a flame-wielding enemy. So maybe not the best indicator of how we'll be performing on this run. Oh, my Kraken friend, could you please come back? Perfect. As long as we're one step away from safety, I don't feel horrible about this. Especially since we can get in a couple of pot shots. In fact, can potentially cheese this buddy a bit. We're careful. And we'll just slowly but surely kill our Kraken friend. There we go. Let's take a sidestep. Shot again. Hello? Did I, like, remove all your tentacles? Is that a mechanic that I've just never noticed before? That when you get them to the ink splotch amount of damage, they actually lose their ability to attack you with tentacles? Interesting if true. But to be fair, it's, what, 25% more weapon damage as fire, so 37.5% more fire damage to you. And then reduced by AC probably doesn't matter too much unless their base damage is high, right? But I definitely don't want to take anything for granted here. Okay, Trident of Protection. I don't mind that whatsoever. We'll definitely head to a different stairwell that's not being actively camped by a unique. Or not. That's cool too. So, throw Icicle. Definitely a concern here. At 131 total health, that could definitely hit us like a truck. Do I bother, though? Getting more resistance, or I think we maybe just phone our friend in, and we start whacking away, and it's looking like we do deal enough damage to not make that too much of an issue, which is fantastic. Love to see it. And then we can kind of divvy up the remaining labor here between me and my summoned buddy. And that is wonderful. Not too bad whatsoever. Definitely can't exactly complain. We'll kind of just sit here and chill for the moment while we wait to see who else may or may not come filing in. There we go. Otherwise, again, looking pretty good. I'm glad we ended up switching into shoals because I'm feeling much safer here than I would have in Snake, seeing as how we were definitely running into some trouble spots very early on there. But hey, we'll see how it goes, because this could very quickly escalate into a similar situation if we're not careful. Another Ring of Ice, I don't think we'll worry about. And again, this is the kind of situation where I swapped into the Ring of Cold. I probably should continue to use my Dex Ring until we see enemies that are dealing cold damage. But I do have some amount of concern regarding my own ability to recognize threats. Again, if that Flaming Trident was any indication, we're not exactly breaking the usual mold here. We're just bog standard, pretty garbage at keeping ourselves cognizant and cautious of the various dangers of the dungeon here. There we go, dropping the Degeneration Potion. That is a free inventory slot, so love to see it. And another Trident of Protection. Sensing a little bit of a theme here, my friends. But nothing we can't handle, and we're slowly but surely also chunking our way through the final IDs of our consumables here, so that is fantastic as well. Already down to Shoals 3. Yeah, we're definitely going at a decent clip here. Just speed running our way through Shoals, though let's be mindful of the fact that we've been fairly lucky. No Javelineers yet. I imagine we're getting close to the point where that will no longer be the case. Okay, I was debating phoning in a friend and getting another angelic assistant to help us through that encounter, but glad we didn't waste the piety. We want to be slightly cautious just because Shoals isn't exactly known for enemies that will replenish the piety that we have with the Shining One here, so what we've got stored in the bank is pretty much the be-all, end-all of it. That's not how that expression goes, but we're just gonna go right by. And is this a throwing net? Okay, I was wondering what the threat was, but that's fine. You probably don't really need the dex at the moment. Better safe than sorry. Exactly. He needs like 2 damage anyway. Well, let's be careful before we, lest we tempt the gods of DCSS into leaving us 2 damage short of killing a dangerous enemy. I have a decent amount of teleportation, so I think I will read that in advance, and I'm glad that we did. Just as the net hit us, and that should now leave us in a fairly good spot. Just clean up the remainder of our new friends, and that is fantastic. Even hitting level 17, not too bad. Ooh, and a brand weapon scroll is lovely. I don't like fighting an alligator turtle in water, so I'm definitely going to phone a friend there. Can I get you on dry land, please? Please and thank you, if you could be so kind. Oh right, we're Barachi. This is not gonna work. I'm just taking attacks of opportunity for no reason whatsoever. Silly old me. Okay, so again, good little mental reminder, good situation to find ourselves in to remind me of, the character that we've been playing for probably a few hours at this stage of the run. But not too bad overall. I also apparently was a little incorrect in my assumptions about ranger duels, because we are so far managing to just outpace the damage on all of our satyr friends here. So that is not too bad, if I do say so myself. And holy moly. Down to Shoals 4 already? Okay, and it's not the castle approach, which I'm kind of glad about. I didn't want a lot of thin corridors that we'd be navigating around. Maybe this is shell enclaves? At least that's the nomenclature that comes to mind with the Shoals 4 ending that I'm thinking about. Honestly, I'm still a bit confused because we haven't seen any of our little shell things quite yet. If I just forgotten another potential ending to Shoals here, Okay, either this is one of said shells, two of said shells. Okay, it does look to be that ending here was just a little bit slow on the reveal. But that shouldn't be too bad whatsoever for us to deal with. Some throwing nets. Now that, on the other hand, I would like to deal with, if at all possible. So, what do we get rid of? Potentially this dex ring. At this stage, we have a decent little selection of replacements for it, so we can start to think about that. Ooh, and a bloodstained hand cannon. Could potentially try out the new hand cannons, and that would allow us to even switch over to using a shield, which would be quite lovely, if I do say so myself. Please don't they blow me into an area where we have sight access of another shell. That was exactly what I was concerned about. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be filled with the scariest of enemies quite yet. So maybe not a huge issue. And this begs the question as well. Do I bother ruining our savings here? Because we're currently in the market for that crown. And I don't know if it's worth it to try out the hand cannon here. We can at least kind of leave it there. Was that I'm guessing it was a vampiric battle axe? The battle axe of the living god. Pain. Well, definitely not too much interest on our side with that son of a gun. You know, we're starting to see a few more enemies than I'd like, so this is where we phone a friend. Again, might be a little bit unnecessary to have done so, but still more than happy to just play it safely here for the moment. And let's aim up this way as well. Not too bad. If I can keep my summon around slightly longer, taking care of some of our friends here, that would be lovely. And we'll take the break here. I guess our Deva's almost dead anyway, so there's not too much harm in having a little bit of patience, especially since we seem to have gotten blessed with some longevity on this son of a gun at some point without me really trying it out.